On the 5th of July, 1888, around 200 workers marched out of Bryant and May's match factory, followed shortly by just over 1,000 more, in protest at their treatment by management and the terrible conditions in which they laboured. The strikers were women or girls, many in their mid-teens. Their actions, together with the intervention of socialist campaigner Annie Besant, mark a seminal moment in the development of the new unions of the late 19th century. Bryant and May's match girls worked long, hard hours for low pay, often made lower by a range of fines for transgressions as minor as needing to leave their bench to go to the toilet. They also worked with the dangerous substance yellow phosphorus, which caused a form of bone cancer in the jaw known as phossy jaw, that led to terrible disfigurement and death. Outraged at hearing of the pay and conditions at the factory, Annie Besant decided to investigate. Besson was a dynamic public speaker and organiser for women's employment rights, birth control, and freedom of speech and conscience. She stood at the gates and began interviewing a small group of workers and published her findings in the weekly newspaper, The Link. Besson had previously been sceptical about the organisation of unskilled women factory workers, calling the idea of the Women's Trade Union League unworkable in an earlier edition of The Link, but the match girls changed her mind. Besson's intervention, which had sparked the strike, was then crucial to its resolution, but it is problematic in the impression it gives that the working class match girls needed a middle class socialist to organise and lead them. It is important to remember that the strike of 1888 was not unprecedented. There had been previous strikes of match workers in 1871 after the introduction of a match tax depressed their wages. This had led to a large, well-organised march on Parliament, culminating in clashes with the police in Trafalgar Square and along the embankment. 6 years before the now famous strike, the match girls of Bryant and May had also protested the erection of a statue of William Gladstone on Bow Road near the factory. Their anger was not directed at the Liberal statesman himself, but with the fact that their employers had made involuntary deductions from their wages to help fund the statue. There were even reports of match girls cutting themselves so they could bleed on the statue in protest. Besson's intervention in 1888 was, however, crucial to the outcome of this particular strike. Besson had the connections and organisational experience to win the match girls' favourable coverage in the Liberal press, to raise the funds needed to support the workers while on strike, to organise a deputation to meet with MPs and to secure the support of the London Trades Council. This last factor was crucial. The support of the council led to mediation talks, which resulted in Bryant and May giving in to almost all of the match girls' demands. These included the abandonment of the firm's fines, the provisions of a breakfast room so workers didn't have to eat at their contaminated workbenches, and recognition of a new union to represent their interests. While the Union of Women's Matchmakers lasted little more than a decade, the strike had a far more enduring legacy. The strike challenged preconceptions about unskilled labour in general and women workers in particular, demonstrating that both were capable of remarkable solidarity and organisation. As Ben Tillett, one of the organisers of the London Dockers' Strike of 1889, observed, the match girl strike was the beginning of a social convulsion which spurred on the development of new unions for the unskilled. It is easy to see why they proved to be such an inspiration. As John Charlton wrote, they were young, loud, confident, and they won.